We still have the audio out here, Zach. Good day, everyone. We are getting situated, and we are getting started on our seminar. If you guys also have any questions online, let Zach let me know. And we're going to kick off our definiteness of purpose, and why it's important to have a definite goal and a definite desire to live the life that you want. And if we don't have a definite purpose and a definite desire, we don't know where we're going. I'm going to start off with just giving a little intro on ourselves. My name is Abraham Carranza. Most of you would know that, Institute of the Mind. And what we do is we help people really live the way they want. We work with several people, and different individuals globally, and we've helped them realize their dreams and acquire their desires and really fulfill it. Help them change their lives. They change it, but we help them along the process. And it's a process of learning more about yourself and what is it you truly desire. And in that process, you set goals. You set worthy goals, goals that are worthy of you. And as you continue to advance in that goal, you learn more about yourself. With the Institute of the Mind, I started off really in my life. I would say I grew up in a lower class, lower poverty scale, and everybody has their own interpretation according to what poverty is. But I knew I always grew up in want, not having enough, looking in our refrigerator and not being enough, hearing the arguments of not having enough, and that's how I grew up. And I knew that I did not want to continue that lifestyle. I did not want to live in that manner. And there was also an inner awareness that I was more than just a body and just a name. There was an inner awareness that always took me to go inside, to dive inside, to look for my purpose in life, my desires in life, and my want. And that led me into this investigation of the mind. What is the mind? What is consciousness? Who are we? What are we capable of? And why is it that there's some people that are very successful, and then you find a lot of people that get trapped and they get locked into this way of thinking or this standard of thinking? I remember looking around me and everybody was in poverty and everybody had their own truth. I was looking for the truth for so many years, and everywhere I looked, I found their truth. And they were right. For every reason they had, they were correct. So here I'm looking for the truth, and I would look for the truth, and I would ask, and I would look for the evidence of that truth, and why is it that other people have this other truth? And there's people in middle class, and they have their truth, and they find the opportunities. And you have people in a mid-low, and they have their truth and how they're able to do what they do. And then you find the people at a lower setting, and they have their truth of why they can't. And then you go to a medium-high, and they have their truth and why they can. And then you have a high that is very low amount of people that are in the high, and they have their truth. And then in between looking for this truth of what is destiny, what is purpose, and how do we change reality if we choose, and all this research and looking for the truth led me to the truth. I found my purpose because I was looking for my purpose. I found my purpose because I was looking on purpose. And it was truly about understanding me and why I was here at this time and what was my purpose in life. In doing so, I began to develop myself. I began to change myself. I began to look at the world and view the world differently. In that advancement, I was advancing my consciousness, but as well as changing the way I think. And there was a lot of truth that I found in all this, and there was a lot of awareness in the growth. And we'll start off with what is the mind. And I'm going to go through briefly. We go through these classes daily so that we can get a better understanding. But I'm going to touch on it a little bit because I want to really get into the depth of what we're going over on definite purpose. Every year, every month, we're going through one of the laws of success. And these laws of success were written by Napoleon Hill, which Napoleon Hill actually was writing this information in the White House. So he was Roosevelt's direct advisor. And he was also working with the wealthiest men in the world at that time. He worked with Andrew Carnegie, that was the wealthiest man in the world, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller, Firestone, all these men of wealth, and that really started their legacy, true legacies. And they're the ones that left their name written in stone. And they're the ones that you still hear about their legacy today. Accident? No, they were studying something. They were learning about something. And also, if you look at any great leader or any great individual that left a legacy or that paved the path for other people, it's rare that you'll even see the family members progressing beyond that. Why? What was it that they knew? What was it that maybe they couldn't pass down? What was it that they were studying? Well, that's where we are going to embark in, and we're going to touch in every area of this as much as we can. We can only get so much done in a certain amount of time, and it's a lot to explore, and it's a lot to comprehend. And I want everybody to understand, you will not understand this information the first time. You're getting an understanding of it. You're listening. You are gathering knowledge, but it's only knowledge at a distance. When you learn something and you think you're learning, you're actually just getting the memory of it. You will never learn a thing until you can express what that thing means. That's called understanding. There's a lot of people that have a lot of book knowledge and they have masters and doctorates, but yet the results are minimal. Why? Because they didn't know that in the lower part of their consciousness, it's not about what you know, it's about what you can do. And we're going to talk about the programming and the subconscious mind because it is a huge part of the knowing and doing gap. The truth is when you gather knowledge and you're taught the knowledge, you're going to file that in your filing cabinet, but normally it's going to be stored for the memory of it. And if the book is stored for the memory of it, this is 1D, this is 2D. And when you acquire knowledge, 1D and 2D, it's flat. There's no life in it. The only way you can bring life into knowledge to make it wisdom and understanding is to bring it to life, move it into action. You don't understand a thing until you can actually do what the page says. You should never turn the page until you can actually act it out on purpose. So there's a lot of people gathering a lot of knowledge, but no understanding. Understanding is when you can apply what the words say in an action towards a goal. Okay? So we're going to open your mind, we're going to open your awareness, and you are gathering information, but you will learn this information at a distance. It is knowledge at a distance. That is not knowing. That's the observation of that fact at a distance. When you can take that information and go beyond a test, see, education thought they were educating people. True education is teaching people how to do and act and behave as they wouldn't act before. Now, a lot of the information they would give you a test, that's for the memory. So they were doing one part good, they're giving you a test for the memory of it. The other part is, can you express that in behavior? That's the knowing and doing gap. That's education. When you can express it in behavior, now they did teach us writing. They taught us to ABCs and we can express it in a behavior. Good, well done. But anything that you learned that you cannot express in a behavior, you still don't know it yet. And you don't have that behavior yet, and you don't have that automatic yet. And we're going to go into all of this, but the very first thing is I'm going to bring order into our minds, because when we say the mind, what is consciousness? We don't have a picture. If I ask you guys, what is consciousness? What is the mind? What would you normally say? One more time? Self-awareness, good. So self-awareness is mind. What does that self-awareness do for us? We got people on the, we're live streaming. So if you would speak in there and they can hear what you're saying.
Yeah, self-awareness.
Well done, self-awareness.
Yeah.
So self-awareness is consciousness. We're the only ones that can actually observe our own thoughts before we even act on them.
That's what separates us as humans from animals.
There you go. That's what separates us. That gives us a higher understanding even to observe our own thoughts before we act and do and proceed in them. Okay. But there's not a lot of people that even know what you just said. Right? When we ask what is the mind, a lot of people are going to say, what's my brain? But the brain is not the mind. So in order to understand what the mind is, we need pictures, because we think in pictures. We think in images, right? Cat, dog, TV. Right? When I say the mind, if you don't have a picture, it's hard to understand the movement of that energy. Right? So Dr. Thurman Fleet gave us an image back in 1934 of the mind so that we can get a better understanding of energy and the way it moves. So when I'm talking about the mind, and this brought a lot of order to me, all the research I was doing as well, and also Bob Proctor, one of my mentors as well, I went to go work with him and learn how to teach this information from him, because he was the oldest in the industry, and I really enjoyed the way he taught. He was also globally known for his teachings and the way he communicated. So I was changing my life. I was changing my results. I was earning millions of dollars that I had never done before. It wasn't in my lineage. I was building companies. It was not normal. It was just foreign. And all of a sudden, something just clicked and I took off. Something just snapped in me. And it was the study and the study and the research and the repetition of the study. And I had learned a lot of information from a lot of books, a lot of knowledge. I was putting it into practice. But as well, I had never taught anyone else. Now, I'm building companies. I'm attracting people. We're setting goals, and I'm noticing that they're getting stuck. I'm noticing that there's a lot of things and behaviors that they're not able to make the breakthroughs. And I'm here making these breakthroughs. I'm making these shifts. I'm doing the things I've never done. And I'm setting goals that I've never done, but they're getting stuck and they're hitting those terror barriers. And I had never taught this information. I had just learned it so that I could improve myself. And I'd come across some businessmen, and it was Bill that called me 2 or 3 days later, and he introduced me to Bob Proctor. And when I heard Bob, I knew he knew what he was talking about. Why did I know he knew what he was talking about? Because he was reading the same material, a lot of the same books, studying a lot of the same material that I was, but yet he had more reference, more time in the experience, and he had acquired his own knowledge, his own experience, and not only that, he'd been teaching it for years. He'd been teaching it around 50 years at that time. Now, I wanted to learn from him because I want to be able to teach this information and be able to successfully take people through the process of success. And as he started to speak, he started to introduce this image. And this image has changed my life, and it changed his. This brings everything you've been studying, and it brings order. What's heaven's first law? It's order. And if we don't have order, we have chaos. We don't know where we're going. We don't know what we're doing. So heaven's first law is order. But if we notice that order is actually a vision, the vision brings order. Without the vision, the people will perish. A vision brings order. When we have no vision, we're in chaos. The vision brings order. We think in pictures. Look at the little child. In order for him to move his little hand, he looks at somebody else moving their little hand. In order to pick up the glass, he's watching somebody else pick up the glass, and he's learning from them. In order to say a cuss word, he's got to listen to somebody else say a cuss word, right? In order to laugh, he's watching you, and he's seeing how you move your mouth so that he can laugh. He's watching how you demonstrate picking up a fork or a spoon or whatnot. So everything is the image-making process. We use images to create our life. We use images to express what? Consciousness. Consciousness. Who's consciousness? Now, if we really get a better understanding, and we're going to go through this, consciousness is your spirit. This energy moves into a body and will move out. This energy moved in, and it will move out. For the time being, it came into this brain, it came into this body. Scientists know the minute that energy leaves, the body flatlines. The minute that spark leaves, they can measure it. The minute it leaves, that brain and that body is a dumb terminal. It doesn't work. That body goes back to earth. So the thing that was given it life was its spirit, its energy, its divine spark, that divine spark within. If there's a little child that's born and that connection is not made, even though that body can be perfect, but that connection was not made and it cannot make the connection, it cannot breathe, nor connect, open its eyes, and it immediately disintegrates, goes back to earth. So the thing that gives life is this spirit, this energy, and it comes into a body. It comes into the body from the Father. I'm thinking about Spanish. Father and the mother, right? And this energy comes in, but it comes into from them. They gave life to you. Their DNA is also programming. So here we have genetic programming that you came into. So now we have information. This programming goes right into you. So this body is being created and it's coming from the programming. So here's this programming already in an archive. This archive is for the memory and the application to the body. So this information at the lower states is already thinking for you to keep your body, what? Alive. This energy moves through the body and it's creating, building the building blocks of this body. So we don't see what this is doing. We live out here in physical reality and we have an outer ring. This is 3D world. 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 3D, we can see down here in the physical reality. We can see our outer ring. The outer ring is a composition of the way we think. Intelligence that thinks. As this energy and intelligence is vibrating and thinking, where is it thinking from? Well, the information it gathered. So here, this energy comes into a body. All this information is going right into the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind, conscious mind. So we have a conscious and a subconscious mind, and then we have the body. This we don't see happening. We just see the outside effects, right? So when I'm saying the mind, it's this movement that's happening, but what we experience is physical reality. And what we're experiencing out here is the thoughts that are happening in here. Okay? I'm going to give an illustration. These right here are the senses. Hear, see, taste, touch, and smell. Right now, everyone can hear me. Some of you are hearing, and some of you are listening. There's a difference. Where is it coming from? We're living out here in the physical world, and you can hear me. Right? And because you have cells of recognition for every word that I say, this stimulus comes in through the ear, and this is the resonator of the whole thing. You're picking up the information. You go into this archive. You pull up the image, and here comes the Lamborghini. Lamborghini, 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 Lamborghini. Popped up again, didn't it? Lamborghini. Yellow one. It's yellow Lamborghini. Orange, brown, purple, Lamborghini. So what am I doing? I'm activating cells of recognition, and I'm changing the color. And it's flashing on the screen of your mind. Drops. Lamborghini, Porsche, Ferrari, right? So what I'm doing, as I'm speaking, you can hear me. The people that are listening are actually getting more involved. They're getting more cells of recognition. They're activating and they're tapping in here, and they're getting more information to draw it out to get in the spirit of it. If I say an orange and I say, let's have an orange. And I say, I suppose I give you each the orange right now. And we begin to smell the orange. And you begin to peel the orange. And you begin to act like you're biting the orange. Can you taste it? Can you imagine? Grab the orange and act as if you're smelling the orange right now. Go on, keep smelling it. What's happening? We're activating, right? Your taste, you're actually starting to salivate, right? Why? We're tapping into the subconscious. Now, there's information in the subconscious. The lower part of your consciousness is the subconscious, and this is our conscious mind. Conscious mind, we can accept, reject any idea. Subconscious mind must accept. So here's the trick here. 0 to 5, this baby is wide open. The little child is born. They have no cells of recognition. What do? All they can do is accept everything that's happening around them. So the brain is not the mind. The mind is an energy that's surrounding the body. Your body lives in your spirit. That's that field of consciousness. Scientists have measured it. They can measure that this energy that's thinking and floating all around you, it's floating through your body, surrounds your body. It's an etheric energy, and they can measure it. The minute it leaves, that energy leaves. The body's gone. All you have is the body. And it immediately begins to disintegrate. 30 days, right? 4, 5, 6, it's eating itself up. That energy is the mind. But that energy, that spirit is entangled with what? Memory. Whose memory? 0 to 5, guess what's happening? Your archive was wide open. Your archive was wide open. Your archive was wide open. My archive was wide open. Every child is born, their subconscious is wide open. And what does that mean for us? Well, that means that everything that's happening before you're born, in the process, 9 months, 10 months later, you're getting programmed with every feeling mother's going through. Where's it going? Right in here. Whatever she's thinking about, whatever's happening, whatever is going on, is being streamlined right into your subconscious. As you come out, your eyes open up, you start to view the world, you're getting all of the ideas from them. So you come into a year, a month, a country, and what are you getting? You are being inundated with that reality. So you go into it, and then it what? Goes into you. Does it not? If you'd have been born in the 1400s in Germany, you'd probably have a different name, wouldn't you? No. If your spirit would have been born in the 1400s, on a month and a date, in a German family, you would be alive. You would have to accept everything that they're telling you as truth. You'd even tell me your name is that name. Sherwinski, right? And you would begin to think. See, this is what we don't understand. You see, when we say, well, think, really think about it. You know what thinking is? Thinking is imagining. The word thinking is truly imagining. But you're imagining from the starting point, if you gathered all of their information, and here comes 0 to 5, you gathered all of their ideas, and then you think. So who's really thinking? Think about what I'm saying. If your soul would have been born in China, into a Chinese family, and you begin to gather their information, you tell me you were Chinese. Right? You probably have a Chinese name. And if I were to ask you, who are you? You would give me that name. Then you would probably proceed. If I kept asking, no, that's not you, that's your name. You'd probably proceed with your education, maybe. The employment that you have. Because you're trying to identify with something. I keep telling you, no, that's not you. That's your name. That's not you. That's your profession. That's not you. Who are you? If I keep asking, who are you? We start to dig in and dig in and dig in, and we have to go beyond what all these ideas are. Right? So who are we? Spiritual beings experiencing a physical reality. Are we really our profession? No. It's what we do. Right? So what is consciousness? What it does. What it thinks it is. As we start on this path, 0, 5, we go teens to 20s, right? Whatever you were thinking about at that time, you were attracting in your life. Tell me, go back to your 20s. What were you thinking about? Look at your outer ring. Was it not in perfect proportion to what you were thinking? Perfect proportion. Think about it. What were you doing in your 20s? Did you have your own house? Were you renting? Were you living with someone? Everything that you were thinking with that energy, you were attracting that outer ring in your life. What is the outer ring? What is this outer ring that we see outside of ourselves? It's the people, the places, the plots, and the circumstances that we experience. Is it not? Look at your outer ring. What is your outer ring? What is your home? Let's look at the extension of you and where you live. Is that an accident? This home is rented, bought, paid for, whatever it is. You were thinking you attracted it. Let's look at the business that you're in and what you do. Whatever this business is, however you serve, everyone has to serve. But the way you serve, you were thinking about it. Look at the amount of money that you earn. Accident? No, you were thinking and you earn that amount of money according to the profession you went to go serve. So the amount of service you give dictates how much you earn. Let's look at the people that you, relationships, past, present, or future. You think relationships are accidents? Nope. We attract them. Look at the people that you surround yourself today, friends. What are they? What is their energy like? We attract that. When we're looking at this outer ring, look at the car you drive. Accident? Nope. This outer ring, this home is your habitat. Habitat. We are the center of everything around us. And if we want to change that outer ring, we've got to change something in us. This is where this law of vibration and attraction comes in. A lot of people are researching, they're trying to find what's the law of attraction? What's the law of attraction? Attraction is a secondary force. This is the result. Law of vibration is the key. Because the way you think will be the way you feel and the way you act. So, conscious mind, subconscious, the body. This normally is hooked right up and it just goes on its own. It's rare, Larry said it, that we're going to do what? Observe our own thoughts, change them. It's rare that somebody's really doing that. It's rare that people are self-conscious enough to change themselves. Now, there's another box over here in the subconscious mind, and we're going to call that universal intelligence or infinite intelligence. Let's look, when we really begin to understand why you want to have a definiteness of purpose, because there's an infinite box here that is the largest memory box in the universe. And guess what this is? Infinite field of intelligence. Now, let's look at where Edison was getting his ideas. Where is he working? The average individual is thinking from what they know. So they keep going to this box, and then they experience through this lifeline to go and do things. The average individual is thinking from what they know. Somebody that's on a higher vibration, they are vibrating higher, will begin to pick up frequencies beyond what they know. But these frequencies are up here. Where was Edison working? How was he using the mind? If he would have stayed like everyone else, he would have been broadcasting and receiving what the masses get. Your brain is a broadcasting and receiving station. Your mind activates it. Now, here's the key. Why is a definite purpose so important? Because a definite chief aim in life, a definite purpose, because of a definite desire, you will have to go beyond what you know. Because a definite chief aim and a definite purpose, if you already knew how to do it, you would have it. Right? If you already knew, if you already programmed, how many of you can go and more or less live the way your family was living right now?
What do you mean?
Financially. How many of you can live right now and you can just earn that amount of money and it comes to you fairly easy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why?
That's what you know.
Because it's what we know. So 0 to 5, we can replicate more or less mom and dad's theories. And we can find a job or find something and then get ourselves to perform at that level. But something inside of us is always saying, there's more. I know there's more. There's something inside of us always causing you to go beyond what you know. That is your spirit, your higher awareness. How many times do you get a light image and what about this? And you get a light image and it comes on, flashes on the screen of your mind. You think it's an accident? If the brain, Emerson, Gates, all these men that were studying this information, Carnegie, Ford, they were all going beyond conditions and circumstances. Edison, where was the light bulb? How come those men next to him, they wouldn't get that idea? But then he went and found men that thought like him, and they were getting ideas. But why was it that other men that wouldn't think beyond conditions and circumstances, how come they don't get the ideas? Why is it that sometimes we want something or we want to improve, and we don't get the flashes, we don't get the strategy, we don't get the idea? Because when we're so physical and our desires not beyond conditions and circumstances, we're not on that wavelength. The brain is a broadcasting and receiving station. The mind activates that brain according to the pervading thoughts, what you keep thinking about, what you keep auto-suggesting yourself. Do you know that every suggestion that you have today was suggested by somebody else in the past? Unless you went beyond this and you started to get entangled with infinite intelligence. And you started to look for that information. You started to strategize with that information. And you started to get light images from a higher source. Why is it important to have a definite purpose? Because we grow. In this, understanding the mind and understanding why people are stuck, they're not stuck because they can't do more, because they can't have more. They don't know how. Have you ever seen those little dolls where you pull that string and it would repeat the same thing over again? And you pull the string and it would repeat the same thing over again. You would pull the string and it would repeat the same thing over again. That string is like waking up every 24 hours. We were never supposed to repeat the day, much less 5 years and 10 years later. The reason we're repeating the year after year and getting more or less the same results is because we're pulling this string. It's what we know. We keep gathering and we keep thinking from what we know. And this is why we keep attracting these things in our life. Accident? No. It's intelligence. But how often do we stop? Really stop. Stop ourselves. Wait a minute. Why am I living the way I'm living? Do I want to live better? How do I want to live? How many times do we really sit and ask ourselves, how do I want to live? And actually sit down and create a plan that we're going to live in that manner. It's rare you'll find people doing that, right? You've worked with a lot of people. You've employed a lot of people. I always say, I don't listen to what you say, I listen to what you do. Because I already know that people are programmed to do what they know. You're working as an entrepreneur, you're going to see it over and over again. Because people, they go to their default. People automatically go to the default. And what is the default? What is the default? Can you grab the mic?
Someone's default is probably the point they're comfortable being in a certain place, and that's the default back to that. So,
And the minute they're not thinking, guess who's thinking? Subconscious. Their default. Now let's think about this. How many times are we on default? Well, go look at the person that gets up and does the same thing every day. Go look at the person that goes into the same job, go to the same business, to earn the same amount of money, to think and do the same thing. That's default. Do we have any questions? Here we have this subconscious. Why is it important to have a definite chief aim, definite purpose? Because it takes you beyond what you know. And when you're going beyond what you know, you're setting goals. This forces you to get out of your comfort zone, but it also it allows you to begin to imagine and make the connecting link to infinite intelligence. Where was the light bulb? It wasn't down here because it wasn't created yet. Where was the inventions that Tesla was working on? They weren't listening to what everybody was doing down here, because whatever they had, they already had it. It had already been brought by somebody else that was thinking beyond conditions and circumstances. So when we're thinking beyond conditions and circumstances, it allows us to tap into infinite intelligence. What is that? Opportunities. Where was the phone before it was created? Where was your clothes before it was created? Where was this building before it was created? Look at everything around you. Where did it come from? Somebody thinking beyond the conditions and circumstances. Now let's reverse. Let's reverse 12,000 years ago, exactly where we stand. What would we see? Nature. What did we reverse? The evolution of the mind. Consciousness thinking beyond nature. We're the only ones that don't live in nature. We don't want to live in nature. We've created our own what? Environment. If you were to take man's desire to go beyond conditions and circumstances, take that out, and what do you have? I said it earlier, an animal. Take that imagination out of man. That's what makes him unique. But that's also what's created everything that you see that's man-made. Everything you see that's man-made was created twice, first in the imagination, then in form. They had to start from nothing. From nothing. Imagine that. Absolute nothing into something. Where did they get those ideas? Today, we could live stream globally into another country. Live. How is that possible?
Wouldn't you say that animals create their own environment too, though?
They live in their environment. We don't see animals building what you see here, right?
That's true.
They create naturally according to their way of nature. But we don't see them going beyond and creating a telephone, creating Wi-Fi, flying off the planet, creating a plane, creating a helicopter, creating rockets. Take the imagination out. What do you have? So if we want to really grow and have a better result, one is understanding the principles of who we are and the way we work, so that we can continue to create opportunities, create possibilities that are truly all around us all the time. They were always around us. Where are the opportunities? Where have they been all this time? Success is the development of the power with which to get whatever one wants in life without interfering with the rights of others. When I started to really learn this information, I wanted to help everyone. And I found out really quickly there's a lot of people that really don't want help. People don't resist change, they resist being changed. Why? Because you're telling them they have to quit being them. In all this life, they've only known who?
The fear of the unknown.
Yourself. But yourself is not you. It's actually where you came into. You take this information and then that thinks. Think about it. You take in the information from the environment and then that begins to imagine. Yes, we do have inspiration. And yes, we do aspire. And that causes you to want to individualize yourself. But you're also going up against all of this and you're taking it here to go over there, wherever over there is. Right? Opportunities are everywhere, but we're normally not conscious of them because we're thinking, how many times have we thought, well, I could do this or I could do that? And you say, nah, it'll never happen. It'll never work. Who is saying it can't happen? Do you know that we have a cybernetic mechanism in here? The minute that we decide to go beyond what we know, this thing registers the image. If you get an image over there and this light image comes in, and it comes in here and it says, I'm going to earn 20 million this year. I want 20 million. This thing picks it up, sees that image and says, there's nothing in here for that. Let it go. Don't even think about it. We can earn 20 million in a month. Why? Who kicks that out? When you think, this registers the idea, this decides whether you'll even decide to look in that direction. Let's look at the Wright brothers. Everybody was telling their father was an archbishop, and he knew they were trying to create flight. He said they were going to go to hell. They would die in hell, burn in hell for doing what they're trying to do. And here they mastered flight. They started flight. They ended up figuring it out. Why? They knew they were working with a higher intelligence. They kept getting images for some reason that was guiding them, and they kept working towards that idea. Why do we have planes that look like birds? Because they kept looking at the birds, and here they kept getting the strategy of how to go there with that. At the same time, they've got people spending millions of dollars across the country with specialists and engineers, and they went to school for this, and here we got a couple of bicycle mechanics that do it before they did. Interesting, isn't it? The cause of failure of obtaining an opportunity, what is it? What is the cause of failure of obtaining an opportunity? We get in our head, don't we? Who gets in our head? What we know. What takes you beyond what you know again? Desire. A burning desire. When you have a desire that is so big, you're willing to commit to do everything you can. And even if you don't know, that burning desire is so big, it pushes you to go and adapt to the changes that you have to adapt to see what you want to see. But it's very rare that people go and do that. Because there's a process behind it. And there's a lot of work behind it. Why? Because you're having to go against everything that naturally tells you, this is not me. A lot of times the opportunities that we choose are based on our beliefs. Why would that be? What are the opportunities that we choose based on our beliefs?
I would say, Abraham, that we always gonna go for the opportunities that our belief system supports.
Live streaming.
We're gonna always choose things that we believe that we can do.
Very good.
Our Christian beliefs has to support the opportunity, and we have to feel that it is possible for us.
We normally have to feel that it's possible to take action. But if it's a burning desire, somehow we find the way. I go back to when I had the visions I had, and I was working full time, and I had a vision of owning my own companies. And I had a vision of having what we're doing today, a location that was going to help with consciousness and help teach the information that I was studying. And I immediately began to act on that. And I started to do things that I'd never done before. I started to get ideas that I had never gotten before. I started to become aware as I had never been aware before. Now, when you have such a burning desire, you will start to tap into this field of consciousness. And when you go there, there's a place. As I went here, I want you to think about something. In every vision lives the intelligence for what you're seeking. Now, at that time, my awareness has shifted a lot. But what shifted my awareness? Where did the genius come from? Where did all the ideas that I didn't have before, I started to think and act different? When you pick a vision, there is intelligence in that vision. As I picked this vision of multiple companies, MSIs, multiple sources of income, I had this vision of multiple sources of income. As I started to go here and think and imagine, I started to open up a new window that opened up other windows, and these windows started to feed ideas to that main window. Kind of remind you of something? Go to Google. Think it's an accident that you say a word and then you click on that, show me, you interface with that, and it opens up a window. And then it opens up other windows that you can tap on that are most along that frequency. You think that's an accident? You think it's an accident? You're tapping into a field of consciousness. There's no cord anymore. Show me the cord. Pick up your phone and show me the cord. Where's the information coming from? A lot of people never think of what I'm saying. Marconi had figured out that there was waves, information in the field all around us all the time. And he said he would connect one stately manner to the other. His friends and family put him in the loony bin for a little bit. He got out and he done it. And that's how we started off with GPS, radio frequency, radio waves. Where is it? I started to think of this idea and that I would have multiple sources of income, and I started to desire to go there. Now, I was no longer, I was no longer going to what I know, because what I knew couldn't take me there. When you think from here, this keeps vibrating. That idea keeps thinking, telling the body what to do. I didn't go there. I started to raise my awareness, my intelligence went up here, and I started to think from here. So because I'm thinking, my vibration went so high, I was thinking, well, hell, $300,000 a month at that time. I decided $300K a month. That was my goal. And I was going to start my first company. Never ran business, never ran company, and I'm thinking I'm going to do $300K a month. I set the goal. I set the target. I set $300K monthly. I started off, and I started to do myself out of my garage. And I started rolling hoses out of my garage. People probably thought I was crazy. I remember marking the marching on my driveway, in my garage, through the driveway, onto the street, and I marked it out. And for 2 years, I worked out of my garage. I was raising 3 kids, single father. Their mother passed away when they were little. So here I'm faced with all of the world that says it can't be done. I'm working full-time, working 12, 14 hours a day, and then I'm going to start my own business. Still having to do homework. They're little at the time. My God, the amount of work they give the kids. I was doing the homework, you know? And here I'm going to build a business, right? But I had a goal. I had a vision. I had a desire, a burning desire. I had this vision, and I knew it had talked to me. And I knew it came to me, and I knew there was no accident. So all these years, I'm looking for my purpose. And finally, I started to get these light images, and it started to come to me. It started to give me the ideas, and I listened. And I started to open up these boxes and these images, and it started to give me ideas of what to do. Now, because remember, we are a broadcasting and receiving station. As you think, you begin to release idea, and by law, you receive an idea. What fires, wires together. What fires together, wires together. So I started to think about this business. I started to think about $300K a month. I started to think about, well, how am I going to do that? And how am I going to do it? I've never done it before. It doesn't matter. You got the vision. It was meant for you. So I started to keep thinking and vibrating. Well, my awareness went from here, went up to here. And because I'm here vibrating up here, I'm getting these ideas. And all these ideas are coming down, and they're hitting me where? Right between the eyes. As I'm getting these images, I'm not like anyone else. I'm like everyone else. I'm not any different. I started to get this image. How am I going to do that? Where am I going to get the money? I didn't have any money. Where am I going to get the money? We're going to go there. Where's the money going to come from? You receive the image. Act now. So I started to think, and I kept thinking, and I started to get populate more images, and more images, and more images, and it began to guide me and tell me where to go, what to do, who to call, what strategy I was going to do today, right now, at that very moment, with whatever I had. I had zero money. I lived day by day, paycheck to paycheck. I've started to build income and sell this product. And I had made a route and selling product to every city. And I would get up at normally 2 a.m. if I had to have it there in the morning before I went to work. So some of the drop-offs I had were an hour and a half, 2 hours away from here. But I had made a committed decision. And I knew that if I was going to change my family and change the life of my children's life, if I was going to help them, I had to change me. I knew that I couldn't keep doing the same thing. I didn't want to be where I was at. I was done. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. But it was me. I did that. I created a family. I got married young. I had children young. Everything I was looking at, it was my way of thinking. I couldn't blame anyone else. Now, if I'm going to get out of here, I've got to think differently. Now, here I dragged them around for years. They got to see desire, a burning desire. Start from nothing. Start from scratch. But what they saw was will, desire, courage, persistence, discipline. I didn't have the discipline at that time, dude. I was getting up at 2 a.m. and I was dragging them with me in the car. We did that for 2 years. Selling, building income. We didn't do it every day, but we did it quite often. And then sometimes I'd get out of work and I'm going to work and I'm dropping off product. Try not to get up in the morning. Sometimes I get called late at night and I have to have it in the morning. Sometimes I had to do what I do. We did this, raising capital to open the first location, to have a front store. After I start the front store, I went through some things, hired some people, they couldn't do it. They couldn't do what I wanted. They were earning maybe doing gross sales, 20 grand a month, $15,000 a month. What's his payroll? I'm seeing my revenue that I have been working hard for years go out, just leaving. And I'm seeing it leaving every month. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Everything I've been working for. And I'm thinking, why can't he sell? He's not on that frequency. I didn't understand this till years later on. If that person does not have the vibration that you need, he will not attract what you want. He attracts what he is. And I didn't understand that at the time. The minute I had to quit what I was doing. I quit my job. And I was already at the point where I don't have much money. I had to make a decision. Because I still have to buy product. the money that we're selling is going out on overhead. And we're not generating enough income. And then I had to still replace the parts, put parts back in the store. I quit. I left. I went to go run my own store. In 1 month, we had 175, 195,000. First month. Second month, third month, we're doing approach 2 to 230s, 250s. And from then on, I was hitting my target. First year, I did well over 3. 4. Accident. I'm not saying this to say it. I'm saying that if you have a burning desire, the only way to connect and grab this connection from here to here, to get the intelligence that you're needing to change yourself, it's in the vision. The intelligence lives in the vision. Watch this. Let's look at when we decided to go to the moon. Kennedy asked Dr. Von Braun, will it take a man to the moon and back? Whether that be the case the way it happened, we still have gone off the planet. It was the will to do it. That was what he said, the will to do it. Now, if they say the will to do it, they know that we're operating with something beyond what we know that's intelligently directing us. How many engineers do you think they hired that were not willing to go beyond what they know? Did any of them make the cut? They had to move them aside. They had to go back to what they know. But the people that were willing to sit down and imagine beyond what they can hear, see, taste, touch, smell, those made the cut. You stay. You stay. You stay. If they're willing to imagine beyond conditions and circumstances, you stay. Because they're connecting to an infinite field of consciousness. And they're bringing down ideas. And they're bringing down ideas. They're bringing down ideas to the point to where we're going off into another place. In the vision lives the intelligence. When you select a goal, you're not just selecting a goal, because by selecting the goal, in that goal, there's memory. And when you tap into that vision, you're also tapping into the memory of that intelligence. And that's why you start to get those ideas. Look at this. When you came into a body, did you not tap into their memory? Think about what I'm saying. You tapped into their vision. And in their vision was intelligence. And it has helped them get to where they're at today. My father and mother did all they could with what they knew at the moment. I've been studying this. It's changed my life. My children see a whole different lifestyle. When we went into that DNA, do we not look like the family members? That's intelligence. That's memory. And it gives a form. When we go into the environment, we go into that intelligence and we begin to act, walk, and talk like them. If you guys have ever traveled in different countries, you will find in different countries, they act and behave a certain way. They eat a certain way. They talk a certain way. They do things a certain way. Why? Because inside of that vision, inside of that memory, lives coding. And that coding lives to and through you until you change it. In computer programming, they call coding. DNA is coding. That's memory. Inside of the memory is intelligence, and it thinks. When I picked that goal, not only did I pick the goal, there is intelligence in that goal that will begin to guide you. But yes, here's the other part. That energy has to transfer all the way through the body to begin to act, walk, and talk differently. And if you don't accept the goal, where does the goal go back? It's all around you right now. It goes back in the field. Isn't that amazing? Why a definite chief aim? Why a definite purpose? Because without it, we stay who we are. Power is organized energy or effort. This course is probably called The Law of Success for the reason that it teaches how one may organize facts and knowledge and the faculties of one's mind into a unit of power. I'm reading this out of The Definite Chief Aim by Napoleon Hill. Power is organized effort, organized energy. This course is properly called the law of success for the reason that it teaches how one may organize facts and knowledge and the faculties of one's mind into a unit of power. The course brings you a definite promise, namely, that thought is mastery. In application, you can get whatever you want with but qualifying words. It's your will. If you don't have enough will, what do you do? Do you know that will was your ability to select images? Will was the ability to select images. We're going to take a break. You guys would write down on a sheet of paper when we come back, what is your goal? What is your definite purpose? Do you have a definite purpose? Do you have a burning desire? What is that burning desire? Have you been waiting? Have you been stalling? What is your goal for this year? Do you even have a goal? What is the amount of the goal? Why is it good to have an amount for a goal and a date? Anyone know? Harvard University? Stanford, what do they say? A goal without a date doesn't happen.
Can't be late.
Yeah, it'll never happen.
Plan your work and work your plan.
Yeah. So take the time. We'll take a 10-minute break and we'll come back. What are your thoughts? Questions?